Education, Laurie Kilmartin.
All right.
Yeah.
Jaqueline.
Laurite. I don't know what to do with your name.
There's nothing to do with it. It's not a fun name like Jackie. You know, you got nicknames, then you got the long French version that sounds so elegant. It's really the perfect female name because you can take it either direction.
Do you think Jill Biden will put the rose bushes back? I kind of hope she does.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it was so pretty. It was a beautiful space.
Right. I think she took down trees too, which of course take a while.
Yeah. It's very much fucking the scouring of the Shire. She knocked down the party tree. Fucking asshole. That's a Lord of the Rings reference. You don't want to hear it. You're shaking your head. I'll keep moving. There's nothing to see here.
You need to get those out of your system, and you do it now, then we're clear for the rest of the podcast. That's what I say.
I had it on speaker view. Now I'm on gallery view. Now I can see both of you. Hello. So, So as far as we know, even Fox News says that he won. So,
Rush Limbaugh told him to give it up, basically.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So, good. Every Nazi asshole who is it's like the Lincoln Project. You know, he's the scorpion on the frog, but fucking make it, scorpion, and then we can switch boats middle of the stream here. I'm willing to dump the scorpion off at any time.
I don't know. The scorpions like to stick. Once you let them in, they're hard to get rid of.
It is hard to get rid of.
That's the whole point of that little story, right?
It turns out there might have been a message.
I'm so glad that they won, obviously, but so depressed at the money I wasted on these fucking Senate races that weren't even close. Sarah Gideon and Jamie Harrison. I don't even know much about Sarah Gideon. I just hated Susan, what's-her-face, Collins so much. Yeah. I'm like, here, take it. And the polls were 49-49. Wasn't even close. Jamie Harrison, great candidate. I don't understand fucking South Carolinians. That's what I realized. I'm like, though there's people I don't understand in this country. And for me to think that they're going to see Jamie Harrison and still vote for, like, to me, I'm like, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. You would not want Lindsey Graham. You know what I mean? But it's not a no-brainer to a lot of people. So I don't understand that. And so I'm going to pull back and not participate in those elections anymore.
Other states?
I think House races are a better use of your money. You know,
What about Devin Nunes? Because I donated a bunch of money to the guy that ran against him, and he still won.
Jackie, I know how that feels, but you have driven through Fresno once a week for the past 3 years, right? I mean, you know those billboards, right?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
It's completely banana land.
Yeah,
on Wednesday. We went to Exeter to visit Andy's mom. You know, we could try to go once a week. And there's in downtown Exeter, allow me to gush a little bit about the tiny town of Exeter, California, in a wasteland of horrible, like one fucking, how could there be mediocre tacos in Central California? How are you even open? That isn't even possible. It's like, I'm sure, everybody, there's amazing tacos moments later. And so, there's 1,000 places to get really good Mexican food. And then there's, we were dragged off in Lindsay, in Porterville. But let me tell you something about Exeter and Visalia. There's some good restaurants there. So there's some good places. And in downtown Exeter, there's a sandwich place, bakery. And, this is the second time we've been. They also have excellent coffee. But here's the thing. It was crawling with fucking humanity. Inside, what they've done is they put plexiglass in between the tables.
Why do people think that works?
I don't know, because germs don't go over plexiglass.
Why are people hanging their hopes on plexiglass? I don't understand it.
The dream of plastic is really the plastic.
it's good to wipe things down
and wash your hands, please do.
Sure, but it's an airborne virus.
Yeah.
So
did you see that petri dish pile of humanity in front of the White House yesterday? It looked amazing, but it had to be 11,000 people in front of the White House from the aerial shots.
Outdoors and you're wearing a mask, your odds are so much better of not contracting COVID.
All right. You know? My niece has it. Got COVID.
Shit.
Yeah.
How old is she?
26.
How?
She's National Guard. She's in the National Guard in Billings, and she's been checking people for COVID for the last 3 or 4 months.
Oh.
And so she's just been surrounded by it. And so she finally has it. And, hopefully.
Yeah, Montana, I read, is having a terrible time right now, hospital-wise and stuff. She doesn't have those
She's not hospitalized. Right? She's not hospitalized, which is good. And one of my mother-in-law's best friends, this couple, the wife has it, and she's very frail. And she's in the hospital.
That sucks. That's not good.
That's not good.
Somebody in Texas on my son's side has it as well. So a younger person, no, a different person. So Texas is crawling with it, and they are taking very few precautions in a lot of places. But here's my overall point about donating to out-of-state Senate races.
Yeah,
no mas. You know what? I will be donating for the Georgia runoffs, but I'm going right to the source. Stacey Abrams. She has a group called Fair Fight it's getting out the vote. She is who mostly contributed to Georgia swinging blue. I trust her. She gets my money for Georgia, the Georgia runoffs.
That was where the last 1,000 for the Meat Shield T-shirts and pins went. It went to fairfight.org. And when you posted that, I threw them some money as well. Not, because I'm not working as much as you, obviously. It was less. I looked into what I spent on donations this season for MacBlue, and it was it was probably a quarter of what you did, a little bit less.
Well, the thing is, and so much went to Senate races where they got blown out, like the money that went to her, great. The money that went to Ben Wexler in Wisconsin, for Justice Democrats.
Okay.
Very well spent. Next time, more to that guy, right? Okay. More to these organizers that are turning out the vote. I don't know.
It's weird.
If we turn out, we don't have to beg John Kasich to like our policies. We just have to get other registered Democrats to fucking vote or register them. You know what I mean?
It's amazing. It was the vote turnout was so incredible, and including like every rock, like all the worm people came out too.
Yeah, Republicans got it out there too. That's true.
Yeah. So it was like, but Biden and Harris still won the popular vote by millions, and he won the electoral votes as well. So everybody should stop. And but I'm glad. It's just a step in the right fucking direction. And I'm just psyched. I'm psyched about that 112%. So
yeah, even if he gets a Senate, if it's 50-50 and Kamala can break the tie.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Well, that's if they get the two Georgia senators.
Right. So you donated, but I donated a little as well. So that's still not resolved as of Sunday.
No, that'll be the runoffs in January. People are moving to Atlanta. I'm not kidding. Andrew Yang, who's bugged the fuck out of me because he keeps going, everyone gets $1,000, but he doesn't tell you he's like defunding Social Security and Medicare, right? So, but he and his wife are moving there to register as voters because they'll live there, and also to help register other people.
Okay.
And, so that's happening. You could argue that the fate of the earth depends on the Georgia Senate races because of how much we can do to combat climate change if we have a full Senate and a centrist. It's never going to be the Green New Deal with this guy, but it'll be something closer,
At this point, who has, it's not that the Green New Deal isn't common sense. It genuinely is. Mm-hmm. It's not some radical socialist, where they're going to take away your bike, you fucking assholes.
Well, that would be a terrible idea as well.
Right. Which is what they're saying. They're like, they're going to take away your car, your gun, your bike, your dog, your house. They're going to take away all your stuff, and you're only going to be able to eat soy. And you're like, none of that is happening. All they want to do is they want to channel a small percentage of money that you should be donating to doing it more efficiently and whatever. You get it. I'm preaching to the
right. Yeah. We're trying to cut our carbons. That's it, guys. We're not going to be. I mean, we're seeing some of it, with these fires and stuff. But we're not going to be around for the horrific shit, But.
Anyway,
whatever.
Yeah. So, but it
has to lead in this, and we actually completely dropped the ball 4 years ago. And I mean, we're going to rejoin Paris.
We threw the ball away 4 years ago. We dropped the ball 30 years ago.
Yes, you're right.
It's and literally he punctured the ball and lit it on fire. So, but yes, I get what you're saying. But yeah, we're sort of preaching to the.
Yeah. I just I wish I had been smarter with my money,
Oh yeah. But here's the thing, Laurie, there'll always be more money. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, that's true. You know what? Always.
Do you know why? Because there has to be.
It might not always be going to me though. That's the thing.
It will always go to you. It'll be fine. You will be fine. You can't, I mean, this is an Elliot Cation original, quite honestly. There'll always be more money.
Yes.
And because there has to be. What are you going to stop working? You're not going to stop working. So,
but people stop hiring and whatever. Who cares about this conversation is going to make me, give me nightmares no matter what.
Wow. Another really classic line for the last 5 years. This conversation does give us nightmares.
I'm losing it. I'm turning into a complete bitch, but not in a fun, meme-y way. It's just like a snapping turtle. I am completely alone a lot of the day. I sometimes hang out with my son, but he's
going to school.
Got his own world of friends he's online with, and then his dad and stuff. So, I'm not. My natural state is receding into a comfortable chair and watching television. Mm-hmm. So the great thing about stand-up is it got me out of that every fucking night for 30 years.
Yeah.
For 30 plus years. Mm-hmm. And now I've just been watching Breaking Bad, and it's so depressing. And I'm like, I did this to myself with The Sopranos. I rewatched shows with horrible characters as the leads and the supporting characters.
No,
why am I descending into this madness?
I don't know, because they're bad people who make terrible life choices, and it's passed off as drama. You're like, it's literally, I know bad people. I know people who are making terrible life choices. I can't fix any of it. And I am a giant fucking meddler. So trying to watch something like The Sopranos or Breaking Bad, it's hard enough. The crap that I'm watching. What did I watch? Oh, I know what I watched on Disney Plus. I've been watching this series. There are several docuseries about aminals. Aminals. That's right.
I don't know what that is.
Those are aminals. It's called Wild Hawaii, Wild India, Wild Portugal, Wild Chile. It's essentially different countries, and it talks about the wildlife, and they're 51 minutes, and they are like the one that I just watched was migrations. Mm-hmm. And it was the migrations of monarch butterflies from Mexico up to Canada and back again, 4 generations. Ants, weird, creepy black ants, these weird, disturbing looking red crabs, and some elephant seals, and all these, and some wildebeests. And it was, you know what it is? It's nice. It's granted, the migration one, it just literally speaks to the inexorable, wake the fuck up and go to work kind of thing.
Right.
Because, that's what migrating is. Migrating is just, you You gotta go.
I've in the last month. Okay, so the Isabella Allende novel, the long Petal of the Sea, I think, which is a line from a Pablo Neruda poem. So I probably got it wrong, but so it takes place the second half in Chile, right?
Yeah.
And then I became obsessed with Chile, and then I'm watching Breaking Bad. I forgot Gus is from Chile. I'm like, all signs are pointing I have to visit Chile.
Right. Yeah, you do. I just finished a young adult book that, or an old classic kids book that someone gave me. Cause I'm literally whittling down this, and it's nice. I'm making a pretty good dent on my bedside, but I just finished Roald Dahl, Danny, the Champion of the World.
Yeah.
And Danny, the Champion of the World is adorable, but it's the guy, he wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He wrote
Roald Dahl?
Yeah, I'm saying his name wrong. And but the Danny, the Champion of the World is, his books, the Dahl guys' books all have like bad guys and evil people who are gross. And you're like, whenever they come in, you're like, oh, that's a bad. And this is a children's, and you're like, yeah, it is a children's book, and there are bad people in it, and but they don't win because it's a children's book, and it's but this book is so weirdly. You remember in Willy Wonka, those 4 people that lived in the bed?
Yeah, the grandparents.
You're like, he's such a weird writer where you're like, who sticks 4 old people in a bed together?
That was incredibly accurate, Jackie. Having lived with someone who only stayed in her bed, that was, and you could have fit 3 more of her there in the bed.
Yeah, but the 4 of them wouldn't have been all in one. I mean, the thing is it's so weird. And then the grandpa gets up and he can dance off and go do a thing. Yeah. And but it was. I found it. Even me, like Darla and I shared a bed when we were very little. We lived in the dining room, and our bed was in the dining room until I was 7. And I wet the bed for a long time. Hi. Too much info. Yeah, Nancy Cation fixed that in a month, by the way.
Really? Yeah. Oh, it was stress bedwetting.
Yeah, completely.
Oh, little Jackie. I want to give little you a hug. Not big
little,
you.
No, yeah, big me. Big me, that's awkward.
Yeah, it is awkward. But little you, I want to give you a little hug so you stop wetting the bed.
Right. Darla, to this day, still sleeps on the edge of the bed. Because we shared a bed and I fucking wet the bed. But it was, there's no way those 4 people are sharing that fucking bed in Willy Wonka. Anyway, but.
No, it's not a true story. That's the least exaggerated thing you should be worrying about.
Right. But I do love those sort of weird little details that you're like, would that be something? Oh, I guess a chocolate lake is okay. I did let's see what happened. So I've booked all of my flights and hotel and car. I'm going on the road for 3 weeks in December.
Is it all refundable?
Get this. It cost $11.20.
Oh, that's right. You used your, Jackie's back. It's like 2019 again. You got your points, you got your fucking weeks. Oh.
Get this. First class, LAX to Denver.
Oh my God.
Denver to Milwaukee. Wow. Milwaukee to Minneapolis, Minneapolis to LAX. First class, all of it.
Oh my God.
With hotel and cars in every city, $100,000 frequent flyer miles. I still have a bunch of frequent flyer miles left.
You mean the frequent flyer miles also pay for the hotel?
They paid for something. No.
Aren't the clubs paying for the hotel? What am I? I've got future thinking in my head.
Right, there's one. Right. Okay, so the one hotel that I did have to buy was in Milwaukee for 6 days because December 2nd, I go to Loveland, Colorado Theater. It seats something like 500, but they're going to put 125 in.
Okay.
They've only sold like 35 tickets.
Okay.
So that I just needed a car. And
Jackie, maybe if you had a rapist open for you, you sell a few more tickets.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if they have any locals.
Local rapists.
Just
the local rapist scene. Just, put out some feelers on Facebook.
Any upcoming features coming up that are rapists that are kind of have a pretty good following in the Denver. I used my Chase Sapphire points for the hotel and cars. And so I still have plenty of those points left too. But I had to get hotel in Milwaukee because remember, Greg Bach, who is one of the owners of the Laughing Tap, has COVID. And so he's closed up. I did text.
So what are you going to do?
Well, I'm either going to hide in this Hampton Inn for 6 days and then go stand in my father's creepy foyer, or meet him outside because it'll be 12 degrees out. And, but
could you both get a rapid test in Milwaukee and then hang out, inside with masks? You know what I mean? Could you
run some sets? Yeah.
Well, no, not run some sets. I mean, just hang out with your dad. If you both get a test.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know how it's going to play out. But I know that, like, my brother has this weird little kind of he turned it into a gym during COVID, and but it has big doors, like it's heated, but it opens up.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we can hang out.
Get some air and stuff.
Yeah,
get some air. Get an air purifier.
I think I'm gonna bring an air purifier with me.
My friend Cheryl came over. I tell you, like, I put 2 air purifiers near her, like on either side of her head. So there was no way. It's not plexiglass, of course, but I'm pretty sure any COVID that was existing was being sucked into the air purifiers.
Yeah. It's and then but I'm gonna be in Milwaukee for 6 days, and then I'm gonna go to Milwaukee to Minneapolis, and if he's better, and if it sort of settles down a little bit, Wisconsin's full of idiots. They'll open it up, and we might be able to just do 5 or 6 people in the audience where I could run lines, essentially.
Yeah.
Because I would like to be able to run it,
Yes, in front of real people.
In front of real people several times. And then we're not recording the Wednesday, but we're recording Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Amazing.
So,
and they'll be able to pretty much, how many people, are they like selling out all their shows at Acme? Like how many people?
Don't know, haven't talked to Lewis in a couple of weeks. But I pulled the trigger, and ever since I pulled the trigger on the flights, I get the shooting pain sometimes in my shoulder blade. I call it my Asperger's hump, and it's just an emotional pain. It's one of those.
Yes, it all collects right there.
Yeah, and that's where, I'm like, okay, fucking chill out. It's okay, it's fine. I did a private this week with Ron Vi.
Mm-hmm.
And I also talked to a Zoom private corporate dude who says that it pays. It was funny when I talked to him. He said it pays between $2,000. You do 10-minute sets, and it pays $2,000 to $200. And I was like, why did you put it like that?
He makes it seem like 200 is the preferable sum of money that you want.
Yeah, it really does, and yet it should not be. And I was, and he was like, "Well, it averages out to about $400 a set." And I was like, "Yeah, I would like to do 6 of those a week, and then that's what is that? Low headliner money? I forget."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but we talked, and I was.
So this person books privates via Zoom, like they're an agent.
Mm-hmm. Right. He's got a weird non-disclosure part of so I got to talk it out now before I sign this thing.
Yeah.
He's got this weird non-disclosure thing about, companies and stuff like that. And that makes perfect sense. But, what we talk about on this podcast is the nuts and bolts of it, right?
Sure.
The money, the booking, the sets. And if they're 10-minute sets and they pay that well, as well they should, because this is Mini Muffin Monday money, right? I mean,
mm-hmm.
this is.
They're getting a professional comedian who's going to do a good job.
Right. And it was funny because the warnings were the classic sort of corporate warnings.
Yeah.
But more open than that. It was more progressive than that because he said, I don't care if people talk about the thing that they are. Just don't talk about the thing that you aren't and then make jokes about it.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh, so don't be an asshole is what you're saying. I mean,
that's actually good advice. I mean,
in general.
Talking about the thing that you are. You can use the thing that you aren't as a way to shine a light on the thing that you are, in a way.
If you shine a light on the thing that you are.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
perfect.
then, that's kind of really good advice from a corporate headhunter, which is very disturbing. I don't like that at all.
Right. That's not the positive thing you're looking for.
Let's see. I did Flappers is doing outdoor shows.
Right. You did the Thursday, right?
I did the Thursday. The Friday got rained out. There was like 4 sprinkles. I don't know. But you know what? I guess you got to. And then, it was fun. I mean, it was their first time out. It was Thursday. It wasn't a ton of people.
Yeah, they're still trying to get the.
Yeah. And there was room for a few more cars in the parking lot. But, I love hanging out with comics. I love catching up with people. We're all, 6 feet apart in masks, but we're still gossiping. Me, Karen, Nick Cobb. It was a lot of fun.
Gronkowski or?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
She, by the way, I think she mentioned that her dry bar is starting to pay residuals now. And it's not bad money, apparently.
Good.
Yeah. So that's good.
Well, it ought to be because it's millions of views for these.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you look at how many views, of course, the comedians are still getting ripped off. But
right, of course, they're the ones not making the bulk of the money.
Yes.
Because it's not like they haven't made their money back. I think they have.
I know. Of course they have.
Yeah.
But it's, I was excited, glad to hear that. There are some comics that are doing, you're doing pretty well considering the pandemic. And it's that's really cool to hear. And Karen is also doing pretty well considering all the work that she lost, Right.
And the thing is what this is this is us doing this lateral move to try to make other streams of revenue are something, like I lost
comedy
the Amazon.
Adjacent. Yeah.
Comedy adjacent. It's, last night Andy was like, because he's always kept this spreadsheet of people who've donated to the Dork Forest. And when they became super fans, in pandemic, I've been sending out those super fans links to the Sunday shows for free.
Nice.
It's sort of like the Patreon. I put the links to the show to the Patreon people for free.
Yeah.
And those guys aren't super fans. Some of those people, it's $5 a month, so that's $50 a year or whatever. And super fan defined as $100 a year. That's what a super fan is.
Okay.
I didn't make the definition. That is an indie band definition from the 90s.
Okay. Because you could update it if it's from the 90s. A super fan could be, projected out $500 a year, right?
Right. It could be. But the ideal in indie band terms in the 90s was that it should be $100 a year from 1,000 fans.
Right.
Because that's $100,000 split in 5 band members. That's a shitty living for all 5.
That's $20,000 a year.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
That's a shitty living for 5
that's the way that's the way to die of a heart attack in your 40s.
Well, but how did you die? You died doing the thing you love.
Yeah.
And if you can
Ubering. What?
Can you believe that proposition fucking passed? That was maddening, actually. I was like, I
wonder if they could challenge it in court. How can you tell the legislature how much they can have what their majority has to be to overturn the law? That's ridiculous.
That's so amazing. It's brutal.
I will. Oh, you know what? I was holding off on, turning my recordings into an album.
Yeah.
Because Bruce, my manager, said, well, maybe we can give the video to some people. I had 2 cameras, not 3, like on my Twitter rant. Yeah. But, so it wasn't actually specialable, but it could be like like hey, she can do this, material plus some different material for a special, whatever, kind of just like a audition video.
So that's what Bruce is pitching.
Yeah, but I guess nobody's, unless you're already famous. Nobody's really
fuckers
doing it. Yeah. Or maybe not for me. Maybe they are for other people, but not for me. So put it out as an album.
Are you going to do it?
I finally signed all the documents almost a year after I recorded it now.
Right. And are you going 800?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. Me too.
Yeah, I'm happy with them. I just was like, there goes 10 years of material that, I probably can't use again. If we're someone to go, hey, but the other thing I have to get out of my head, there's no one sitting around going, hey, you want to do an hour? They're not. I mean, it's just not going to happen for me. No, it never did. It's not going to start now, Or
if it does start, you will have a new hour. The one thing that is, fuck.
It won't. It's not going to start now.
But here's the thing, Laurie. The one thing that is true is that Laurie Kilmartin keeps fucking writing another hour. It's not like you're not writing. But it doesn't. Here's one of the amazing things about this ridiculous situation that we've been living in for 9 months is that the material that I might have recorded in March or June is now better. Are you kidding me? My gender bit is so much. I found something the other day and I was like, thank God I haven't recorded this goddamn thing.
Yeah.
I literally thought that. And then the other thing was, it was the gender thing and it was something else. Allow me to open my notebook. We haven't done that in a couple of years. Open it, bring it to the fore, bring the notebook out. I wrote down, I also wrote a new married bit. How is that? Going to work on it today on the Sunday show, on my Sunday Work on the Album show, which might, I have a month. It might make it to the album.
Jackie, whoever writes a new married bit. I mean, that's amazing.
Oh, right. I'm not saying it's a new married premise.
No. God bless you.
God bless you, Kyle.
Kyle spraying COVID all over his private space.
Just in and amongst himself.
No, but I mean, I'm sure your take is unique, but a lot of people aren't even, I don't know. I guess most comics I see now are single. There's hardly ever, I just don't see a lot of married comics on Zoom anymore. I don't know what's happened. Their spouses have been outraged or not let them on Zoom or something.
Hey, let's take a break and do Comic of the Week.
Okay. So our Comic of the Week is a woman I've worked with a couple times on Zoom. Very, very funny. Roxxy Haze.
And you sent me.
Yeah. ROXX, 2 X's in Roxy, and then Haze as in purple, HAZE. Yeah.
Right. Roxxy Haze. And then you sent me a clip and it was very funny. She had a very funny joke about white dicks and it was adorable.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it. I loved the way people, especially, I don't know, I haven't seen a lot of dudes write it like this, but it comes from this place of rage that feels valid, that then gets tightened up into an awesome joke. Like there's always a punchline, there's always a joke, and there's a premise. But I've seen more women and people of color, I should say, right from this place of where it starts, where you're like, why wouldn't I be angry? And then there is and the male comics I've seen do this, who are angry male comics. The white guys don't have us. Maybe it doesn't feel like and this feels rude to say, but it doesn't feel like a valid place of rage.
Right. I mean, yeah, I agree. I will say, I wonder if, because so many more Black comics, I feel like, are talking about white people, and it's working, like it's getting laughs.
Yeah.
And I wonder if before the spring Black Lives Matter outpouring, there weren't enough white people that understood or knew all this stuff. And then now it's almost like everyone's sort of aware. And so once something has mass awareness, then the comic can more easily get laughs from everybody on it. You know what I mean? It's like with current events. You don't want to break the news on a premise. Everyone needs to know the news, happen, and then you can do the joke, right? So
I will say that's one of my two things. Is one is my least favorite thing is, have you guys seen this commercial? Because you are hoping and praying to God that everyone has seen it, and you're going to sort of explain it anyway. So stop saying that. And
I agree. Yeah.
But I agree with you in the fact that once it's in the common once we all
the zeitgeist,
once we all know that something is that, for example, the white privileged experience and what that is defined as, and you can admit that you are, even if you're so dumb you can't see your part in it, but you can see John Mulaney's part in it. What the fuck?
Wait, what do you mean?
Someone richer, someone who came from like you're just a regular white guy. John Mulaney was born more privileged than you. If you could see at least the richer white guys, like Elon Musk, if you could see that guy, and you're like, that guy can't see his white privilege, and then someone can do a joke about white privilege, you can get it better. You'll understand it, because even if you don't understand your own role in it, you can project. So that's kind of awesome. But I will say, did you see the John Mulaney set?
Yeah, I think I saw most of it.
I saw clips of it.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw the whole thing.
Okay.
I liked it. I thought it was great, but I also don't remember any of it already. I'm really bad about that.
Well, he was getting some, because he is a genuinely funny guy.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
Right. The stuff is outstanding. And I
feel like he writes a final draft the first time he writes the joke. I mean, I just don't see him. I know he retools and retools.
But he did it. Well, there's no way that, because he did this weird, the setup is that whoever wins the election, it's going to be the same anyway. Did you remember that joke?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was, which means that was a fucking first draft.
Yeah, that wasn't really a joke. But
no, that was not a joke. It was a premise.
It was just a statement, right? Did he have a joke about it? I forget.
What it was is it led to this. It led to a thing that I can barely remember, which is always a bad sign.
It's not a bad sign for me. It's a bad sign. Go in and out.
Well, it's a bad sign if I can't remember, because if all I remember about your joke is the point that you were trying to, that's not ideal. That's. So I have to say that I think if he had time to work on that premise, he would not have put it that way. Because I genuinely believe that about John Mulaney, is that he is, and I barely know the guy, but I think that he is, quite honestly, a decent dude. He's
a very nice guy.
Yeah.
And I will say, any comic you're seeing on SNL right now is, I mean, they're used to doing so many spots and honing and working, and it's got, even Chappelle, it's got to be fucking terrifying to know you're not in your 100% best shape comedically while you're going on SNL after the election and everyone's watching you.
I heard an amazing story. Remember JJ Walker? He's still, I don't know why we have to be in memoriam.
And dating Ann Coulter.
JJ Walker has dated or is dating Ann Coulter?
Correct. Yeah.
It makes me hate that week I did with him even more. He was the headliner, but he decided to MC so he could ruin the show immediately.
I did one of those with him.
Yeah. It was brutal. It was
in the Midwest at a Funny Bone.
I was at the Atlantic City Comedy Stop.
Oh,
it was
God. When Bob Kephart ran it? Oh man, those are the glory days. Did you sleep in the Murphy bed in the condo? Oh, those things kill hundreds of people a year. Never sleep in a Murphy bed, ever. They pop back up into the wall and people die all the time.
You are so wrong. The dangers of the Murphy bed.
Oh, really? Google it.
Oh, really? Link me.
Look it up.
Why don't you look it up yourself? I think you're living in some sort of crazy. You just think that it's a weird bed. Anyway, so JJ Walker.
All right, go ahead, tell your story.
He had a great story about Merv Griffin.
Okay.
And doing the Merv Griffin show. By the way, JJ Walker, you ever get a chance to see him? Tell him to just yell from the audience. Don't do material. Just tell stories about the early 70s doing stand-up, please. Because I worked with him, I think it was 2002. And he told that joke. Remember this joke from 1987 when ATMs first got Braille on them?
What's the joke? I remember
the joke
that.
Is that I was going through the drive-in and the ATM had Braille on it. New York Post.
Oh, right. Yeah, the blind person driving.
Yeah, the blind person. And then the comic does an impression of there are only two famous blind people ever.
Stevie Wonder or Helen Keller?
Ray Charles.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And so he did Stevie Wonder, I believe. And what it made me think in 2002 was, are there no famous blind people anymore who are artists that you could use in a premise of a joke? Turns out not. But here's the thing. The audience had seen, it must have been 2004 because the audience was a little hipper.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did the setup about the ATM Braille drive-through, and the audience kind of laughed, but were waiting for a real punchline. They even knew that premise was so hack. And he did the hacky punchline, and they became infuriated. It was a delight to see. It was a glory. But he talked about, but off stage, he told me this great story about Merv Griffin and how he would do these Merv Griffin shows and they would call him like the day before and say, hey, can you do a set tomorrow? And he said that he literally had to use brand new material. He had to work on material on television on the Merv Griffin show.
Well, luckily he spent a lot of time working on material, so he knows how it goes.
Well, it was, but that's what Chappelle and Burr and Mulaney.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Whitney Houston or Nikki Glaser or
Whitney Houston.
I always do that.
It would be nice if they'd had
her last name?
Cummings.
Thank you. Whitney Cummings. Yeah. Who the fuck? I don't know her. Anyway, I'm sure she's perfectly.
You guys have been in LA together for a long time. You don't know her?
No, I was in LA with you and with Kathleen Madigan and didn't meet either of you either.
Oh, that's true.
So,
well, no, but were you here during like the early 2000s when Whitney
absolutely never met her.
Oh,
I think she,
interesting.
I met her. I have genuinely met Whitney Cummings. I got it right that time. One time at the Comedy Store when I was doing a benefit in the main room, and she was also doing that benefit. And so I got to see her do 10 minutes for the first time ever. I had never even seen any of her I still haven't. But she was very funny.
Yeah, she is.
Guess what? I'm sure she's psyched that she's gotten the Jackie-cation. She's very
stamp
funny.
of approval.
Yeah, congratulations. It's all going to work out now for you, kid.
The good cation keeping house of a stamp of approval. I used to do Best Week Ever out of New York. And then they
talking head. What are you drumming? What are you doing? You're making so much noise. Your audio. Anyway,
wow.
So
why do you keep attacking me?
So was that one of those talking head shows?
It was the I think it was the starter talking head show that spawned Lee and Moore, like all the 90s and all this stuff. But so I used to do it out in New York. And they would mix us with the comics that were doing it out of LA. And so Whitney would pop up on that. And that's the first time I was aware of her. I didn't know her at all. And then I think I met her, I don't know, when I see her randomly, doing spots. She hustles. She does a ton of spots. She's shown up at some real shit gigs to work on material.
So does Glazer. So does Schlesinger. Those guys
Nikki's
are all worker bees. Those guys are worker bees for sure.
Yeah.
I, by the way, got digitized all of a bunch of old sets.
Oh, right.
And I found VH1 The List, which was a show that was
Who hosted it?
Henry Rollins.
Oh,
Ray Manzarek was one of the guests.
Is that the guy from The Doors?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Steven Seagal.
Wow.
Wearing two kimonos. That's what I remember when I met him. He was wearing both red and blue layered kimonos.
Oh my God.
And then the guy who was on both Friends and Saving Private Ryan, young actor. He played Chandler's roommate when it wasn't Joey. He was also Jewish.
And his name's Adam, I think.
Goldberg.
Anyway,
what?
It's Adam Goldberg.
Yes,
and he was the funniest of us.
He's fun. He's a funny actor.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal is a citizen of Russia now.
Yeah, Steven Seagal was a mess. Him and Henry Rollins had words before we went on.
I used to have such a crush on Henry Rollins. What was he
my
like?
hero.
Yeah.
Henry Rollins was both of your heroes?
No, not a hero. I just wanted to fuck him. I don't like to fuck my heroes, but
that is that is feet of clay. But I will say that Henry Rollins does look like that guy that you like. That same guy over and over and over again. He has that vibe.
Well, can you appreciate how I've kept myself single since I know my taste in men?
Yeah. What I will say is shrewd move.
I won't bring a man into my house until my son is too old to be harmed by him. It's
a good rule. It's a good Chekhov kind of don't introduce the Henry Rollins type into the thing. Oh yeah, let's take a break.
Okay, we're back from our break, and I found you a link. Murphy Bet snaps up and kills a man. Okay, so it happens, and it probably happens more often than I was able to find. I'm just saying, if you're a comic staying in a condo with a Murphy bed, you're not being valued.
If you're staying in a condo, that's where you should stay.
If you're a comic, you're not being valued as a person.
Yay. Yeah, all the videos that I got digitized, I hate them all. I weigh. I weigh a lot more.
You can grab cringe-wise just to let people enjoy who you used to be, to appreciate who you become.
Sure. That's what they better appreciate, who I've become. I will say this. It is funny to watch those sets. Here's the sad thing. There were sets from the late Friday that show, and it has a clip of Mitch Hedberg on it. And it's got Proops hosted the one that I did, and Greg Barrett hosted the second one that I did. And but the audio is all concocted. It's too bad.
Is that the one Lisa Linegang booked?
Yeah.
Never booked me.
Right. Well,
I've gotten over it.
Well, I thought about piping up that I never worked any of those Talking Head shows, and I was bitter at the time.
You're welcome to be. Yeah,
I had to let it go.
We used to do live shows, like live Best Week Ever shows. So I did a bunch with Mulaney and Christian Finnegan. And
I met him one time.
I worked at a Tough Crowd. He's so funny. He's great.
Yeah, he's great.
And his wife, Cambry Cruz, of course, owns QED in Queens, in Astoria.
No, that's Christian's wife, right?
Yeah, Christian. Yeah. Who were you talking about?
I glossed over the next introduction, was back with Mulaney, and I was like, Mulaney's wife? Wait, do they have Mulaney? What's happening?
And Melissa Rauch, she was on Big Bang Theory for a while.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So we would do these little shows, and was it Lou Viola was in charge of
Lou Viola.
He was in charge of it. So what would happen is like we would all do sets, and then we'd all come back out, and then there would be like a slideshow where they throw up a celebrity, and we'd all do our little jokes about the celebrity. It was so pathetic.
Sure.
But even better / worse is Lou wouldn't update the slides. So like we would be like in year 3 of Amy Winehouse. It's like, oh my God, I think she's dead right now.
Yeah,
Do I still make alcoholism jokes about her? Yeah.
Are we having a seance? What have you turned this into?
Brittany's in a conservatorship. I feel like it's unfair to make fun of her now.
Yeah. It does feel brutal.
Yeah.
So it's fun. Today's my, I'm going to hustle to my Sunday show today is got Virginia Jones is doing a guest set. Helen Hong doing a guest set. And you, I think you've met him, but sometimes, and oh God, Sumak, tell me I'm saying your name right. Sumak Tolgulkar. He's a comic out of Columbus.
I have met him because I remember stumbling over his name the same way you did.
Fair enough. And but he had this awesome sort of weird little bookstore gig in Echo Park or Silver Lake.
Yeah. I've done it. Yeah.
And I ended up buying Marie Bamford's sister's book there. It was about, it was like, I'm an elephant and I remember, I don't know what it's called, but wow, that felt brutal. Sorry, Sarah. Sarah Bamford, go out and buy the book. Anyway, so I will say, and but he's going to do a guest set because he bought a ticket. And I was like, wow. And I had asked Jared and Kara Clank, Jared Logan or Kara Clank, if they wanted sets, and neither of them could do it. And he bought the ticket. They both said no. And I was like, oh man, Subak, allow me to give you your $5 back and split some of the money from other people. And so he's going to do a guest set, and either one of you could come by, do a short set. I mean, because I've given 3 10s, but if you guys want 5 to 7s, you can. 6 o'clock.
Well, here's the thing. I'm doing a yoga class from 5:15 to 6:30. Okay. That I signed up for and paid for in advance.
Oh, fair enough.
So I think by the time I could get over to the computer at 6:32, but it seems like you're into your set at that point.
Yeah, give it a shot. Maria showed up last week in the middle of my set. It was like, I'm too late, right? Which is classic stand-up comedy. Can I please just go up? And I let her close. And I let her close for 10. So if you want to close with 10, you can.
Oh, maybe I'll close with 1. Maybe I'll just do 1 joke at the end.
That's funny. That is great. So I sent sort of a, hey, what's happening with my Marvel pitch document that I sent you guys, and cricket to the head editor that I've been talking with, Marvel, about doing a comic book. Cricket's from that guy as well. So I don't know. The journey continues, right?
I do feel like some of the crickets are people just not knowing. Not someone who's booking spots, but just not knowing in general what the fuck's happening in the next couple months with COVID and what money they'll have, right?
Yeah, I think so, because I know that I did so many Dork Forests about 3 weeks ago, and I've got a list about as long as my arm of people who are like, well, can I do it now? Can I do it now? And I'm like, I don't want to. I've got 2 more in the can. Three in the can, but I do have to, I would like to have them sort of posted before I go on the road December 2nd. And so I think this week I am going to record the ones that the first people in the list.
Hold on. I'm doing other outdoor shows in Northern California. On the 27th, this is Thanksgiving weekend, I'm going to be in Santa Rosa. 90%, we haven't confirmed it. I will post all that stuff. And then the 28th, I'll be in Sonoma, which is Saturday night. And
the wine guy, Brian Maggie, we tried to do his Dork Forest about RVs. He's got a really classic RV and he loves RVs. So, and I think it's like Lego. I don't think I'm supposed to call them RVs, but his internet went out and we didn't get to record it. So he's kind of next on the list. So I'm going to try to get it. Is he booking one of them?
No. No, I can send you the info later.
Yeah. So send me
And what was I going to say? I forget. Yeah, they're both outdoor shows. Thanksgiving weekend. My parents' house finally sold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
To who?
I don't know who. I just looked at the price, and I know that the people put a lot of upgrades in it, but they basically they lived there for 4 years, and they basically made, I would say, $30,000 a year just by living there.
$2 million. I mean, it's not, your parents aren't getting it. You could tell people how much that.
No, it sold for $1.8 million.
Holy shit. That's so much money.
Yeah. My mom got it for $840. Right. And so they put in a lot of work, but still it's crazy that a house could be like, if you just pick a house in the right area and live there, technically you get paid for living in your house. It's so weird. The whole buying of land. I don't know.
Our house is tiny. Our lot is weird, but I think it's worth like $500,000.
It's got to be worth more than that in LA.
And it's in LA. Andy bought it, and then I married Andy. I own half a house.
You upgraded your garage, and
we just upgraded the garage. Yep.
Yes, you got a gorgeous jacaranda out front, and I imagine it's worth more. But it's something you wouldn't see till the end of your life if you know what I mean.
And
but
we're not going anywhere.
It's so I don't know. Everything is backwards the way the world works, and that. If you're a renter, you're going to see a certain amount of income go out no matter what. And then if you look at how much you earned or how much you get when you sell the house and spread it out over those years, you probably got paid to live where you're living just because you bought it instead of rented it.
It's so weird. What about, and I'm also doing that. Just back to comedy. I'm doing some weird, or it's actually not, it's a podcasting seminar with Gotham, right? Mm-hmm. Did you do it?
I did. It was fun. It went by fast. Yeah.
Oh, good. Is it a couple hours or
half hour?
Half hour.
Yeah. There's like a 2-hour window, I think. And then you just whenever you pop in, that's when they pivot to you.
And they just ask you about how to do stuff and, or your opinion about how to do stuff. Because there's 1,000 ways to have a podcast.
I want in on this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There you go. Half hour.
Yeah.
And, it's who else was on with it?
But I don't know. But Christine goes, we promise you, we're going to pay you and you'll get more spots at Gotham. I'm like, what? The comedy club's closed.
Yeah. Are they doing any Zoom shows?
What? That's fine. I don't care. It was just because it's sponsored by Gotham, I think.
Right. Well, Flappers just asked me if I would do a panel for the Boston Women's Comedy Festival. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what about some sets at the Boston Women's if they're doing an online version of it?
Yeah.
And Barbara was like, oh, do you want sets? And I was like, yeah, and money if they have any. I mean, that's what I do for a living, right? And so I haven't heard back.